What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing a beer from the Roughtail Brewing Company, and they are out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and this is their Everything Rhymes with Orange. So this is a hazy IPA that comes in at 6.8% alcohol by volume, 55 IBUs at the time of review. This can is approximately 5 weeks old. I'm going to give a huge thanks and shout out to a viewer of the channel, Wougi Birds, for this beer. So big thanks to him. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail boxing video I did that contains all the goodies he sent my way, and he sent what he said was an eclectic selection of beer from Oklahoma City, and he was not lying. He sent me 7 unique beers scattered across 4 different breweries, and he sent me 2 beers from Roughtail, and this is the first of the 2 that I am reviewing. And I've heard many things about this beer going back to the mid-2010s. I was actually curious as to when this beer was first released, so I went to Beer Advocate and checked out when it was first put onto Beer Advocate, and it was back in 2016, with pretty much checks out from what I remember. I keep on saying the mid to late 2010s, but more specifically, I remember this one like the 2015, 2017 realm, and sure enough, first came out in 2016. So back then, there was a lot of local breweries across the U.S. trying to mimic, what Treehouse was doing with their Julius and things of that nature. And this was one I heard really good things about coming from Oklahoma. Some beer tubers reviewed it. I had some friends that picked it up in their travels, and everyone said it was pretty good. Definitely an orange forward IPA. And every time I think about an orange forward IPA, I think of Julius from Treehouse for sure. So anyway, this one is brewed with a bunch of Simcoe, Citra and Mosaic. Back then, that was a common hop bill, mostly Citra and Mosaic, but you would have Simcoe scattered in there as well. So, and this comes in the 19.2 fluid ounce stovepipe can. So you could say this is at this point a grocery store, maybe a gas station beer. Nothing wrong with that. One of my favorite local IPAs, Hay Burner from Big Ditch. Same thing. In stovepipe cans, you can find them in gas stations or grocery stores. Doesn't mean it's a bad beer or anything. Just means that people might want to pick up a big can like this, maybe a couple of them, and enjoy the evening instead of having to buy a 6-pack. Anyway, we're going to pour into the Treehouse glass because talking about Julius, it makes sense. So, oh yeah, that's looking like, honestly, like old school Julius or just an old school hazy IPA. Pouring out really nice too. Something like that. Ladies and gentlemen, that looks fantastic, and dare I say, a really nice pour. I like the simplistic kind of label. It's just an orange that's getting peeled. But yes, listen, this is circa mid-2010s for sure, as far as like a hazy goes. Look at that thing. Absolutely beautiful. Has that hazy orange color, a little bit of a darker orange color, not like oxidized, but just like, not like super milky looking. 2.5 fingers of an infinitely creamy head. Has some bigger bubbles, for the most part smaller, but just looks creamy. A little bit soap sudsy towards the top, but it looks really nice. Murky turbid, can't see through it. Plays the role what you kind of expect out of a beer, and looks exactly on camera how I'm seeing it in person. So no need for the contraband flashlight. Let's get a nose. Yeah, it's tons of orange and tangerine. It smells like it's going to be juicy, but there is a nice pithiness, like a zesty kind of orange rind. Dare I say Tangelo? Dare I say? I forgot who commented in one of the reviews and was like, you need to put that on a shirt and sell some merch. Dare I say Tangelo? Reason I say Tangelo is some people, back when I first started the channel in 2018 and I'd mentioned Tangelo as being like a tasting note in hazies and IPAs as a whole, a couple people were like, what the hell's a Tangelo? Those things don't even exist. Yes, they do. It's a hybrid of a tangerine and a grapefruit. It's one of the juiciest fruits I've ever had in my life. So dare I say Tangelo? I do dare. It has a little bit of that orange Julius, sweeter vanilla vibe you do get with like Julius from Treehouse, or even some quite a few hazies nowadays. Shout out to Joe over at Joe's Arcade. He'll say it a lot too. He gets a lot of vanilla nowadays with a lot of the hazies you drink, especially from like Treehouse. And yeah, I get that as well. And it's kind of here. It's not as big, but definitely has like a slight orange creamsicle kind of vibe. There's a touch of peach in here, some nondescript stone fruits. And then a really nice floral, slightly dank and herbaceous kind of hop character as well. And the only thing the malt's adding in here, maybe the vanilla, there's a little bit of like a biscuity, bready thing going on. But this just smells like a really, again, orange forward, hazy IPA. It makes sense based on the name, but it makes sense based on the look, and it reminds me of like an old school Julius kind of vibe to it. Julius as a whole, I haven't had Julius in a couple years now, but yeah, this kind of smells like it. Hopefully it tastes like it. Yeah, it smells really good. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Wougi. Yeah, this is really nice. I mean, I'm not losing my shit over it because I've had a beer like this numerous times before. In fact, it has a little bit of the aforementioned Hayburner vibe from Big Ditch. And that's one of my favorite local, like, go-to IPAs in the hazy realm. Again, it's all over town. You can find it at gas stations. It's pretty much everywhere. It just has more of that citrus forward, a little bit of stone fruit, good balance. It's around 7%. You get your hazy fix. It's not over the top. You're not going to break the bank. That's kind of where I see this beer. Body and mouthfeel are really nice. Like, body on this one's higher side of medium, lower side of full. Almost 7%. It's a little bit more bigger, viscous. It has a little bit more oomph to it. The mouthfeel, it's soft, it's smooth, it's creamy. Mild to moderate carbonation, so a little bit softer than anticipated. Nice smoothness and some creaminess as well on the palate. So body and mouthfeel are kind of exactly what I want for a sub 7% hazy IPA that kind of has that orange kind of vanilla stone fruit vibe to it. So anyway, another sip. Right up front, it's orange, and it does a good job of balancing the juicy, pithy, rindy kind of orange characteristics. Not any one of those characteristics are bigger than the rest, so you get some juiciness, you get a little bit of zestiness, you get a little bit of pithiness. It's a lot of orange. Then, like I said, Tangelo, you could say tangerine or grapefruit. You would not be incorrect at all because it's your palate and whatever you taste is correct. But no, in all honesty, like, it just has a good citrus punch at the forefront, underlying more of like a bready, crackery kind of malt. Sides of the tongue, the vanilla's there, so I get hints of like an orange creamsicle or like an orange Julius, but not over the top. It's just like accentuating the citrus fruit. Midway through the palate, a little bit peach and apricot. As it passes through, maybe a touch of like a skosh of like a pineapple. And then on the finish, has a nice, to me, more of like a floral, somewhat piney, dank characteristic. Not as herbaceous as the nose was indicating. It's more like floral pine with a little bit of dankness. It finishes very dry. This is firmly to almost bone dry with a mild to moderate bitterness. It has a good balance here. It's really not too sweet. And that was like kind of my concern going into this one with, I'm not saying Julius is too sweet, but like a lot of hazies can be sweeter, obviously, than their West Coast counterparts and even old school American IPAs, where that dry bitter characteristic is what kind of makes the beer. And with hazies, they dial down the bitterness and they kind of bump up the juicy sweet qualities. This has a pretty good balance. Doesn't even lean sweet. I'd say it's like almost perfectly balanced. I've heard some people over the years too with this one, might have been entering like the early 2020s, saying like this beer isn't what it used to be. And I can't speak to that, obviously, for some if I'm having it. But for something that's in a 19.2 fluid ounce stovepipe can, which indicates pretty big reach even locally, this is a really fucking good hazy IPA. I'm not finding many faults with it. Is it the best hazy IPA I've ever had? It is not, but this to me is very comparable to Big Ditch's Hayburner, where it's like, if I was in Oklahoma, and more specifically Oklahoma City, and I was in the mood for a hazy, and I didn't want to try something out where I don't know maybe if I'm not going to love it, and this is like old reliable, go to your favorite grocery store or gas station. Now listen, I don't know the laws in Oklahoma. I don't know if they sell beers in grocery stores and gas stations. I don't know if you can pick this up anywhere. But what I'm saying is you're probably able to grab this one a lot easier than other beers. So this would be like a local go-to for me in the vein of the aforementioned Hayburner from Big Dish. Like, it would just be one of those beers. 6.8%. I can't tell outside of the body mouthfeel being what it is. So I would guess doing this blind around 7%, honestly. But like alcohol-wise, nothing in my chest, nothing on the palate. Really hides it well. I'm not going to lose my shit over this one because, again, I've tasted this beer many times before from other breweries across the country. But that doesn't stop this from being a good beer, because it's a very good beer. Like, this is really tasty. And I was hoping it would be based on my memory and knowing that people went kind of crazy about this one going back, say 8 to 9 years ago. So I'm really happy that this is still, in my opinion, a good beer. But, if somebody drank this all the time in Oklahoma, maybe the quality has went down, maybe it hasn't. I don't know. I can only speak on what's in my glass. What's in my glass is a really nice Hazy IPA. I'm going to pour some more in here because I'm crushing this tonight, and I'm not going to hate my life doing so. Man, I drank like half the beer already. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's an easy drinker. It's a fucking easy drinker, and being in the Treehouse glass, I think it's pretty fucking good. So everything rhymes with orange Hazy IPA from Roughtail, straight 4.25 out of 5. This is really nice stuff. And if I lived in Oklahoma, this would probably be a fridge staple for me, much in the same respect that Hayburner is for many people here in the Buffalo, New York area. Price point availability, I did look it up on their website. This does come in 12 fluid ounce cans, $13 a six pack from the brewery. So I'd imagine one of these 19.2 fluid ounce cans is probably around $3, maybe a little bit like $3.29 or something. I don't know. Wougi, if you remember what you paid for it, let me know. I would love to hear your opinion on it. Thanks again for all the cool beer. But I want to say this was the one that kind of stood out in the box because he sent me some cool shit. Imperial Porter from Roughtail with vanilla and coconut. Sent me a rum barrel aged Imperial stout from I think it was Stone Cloud. But this to me was the star of the mail only because I've heard about this beer before and I had expectations, but I also was curious to see if it was just as good as people used to talk about. And I think it is. And I might be incorrect, and that's cool. If you're from Oklahoma or you can get your hands on this one, you might be like, what the fuck, you're an idiot? And yeah, fair play. I am. But it's just my opinion, so it's really nice. So yeah, that's the price point availability. I have no idea outside of being in Oklahoma, of course. Outside of that, I don't know if it makes it out of Oklahoma. I have no idea. But the name is true to what the beer is supposed to be. It reminds me of old school Julius. Maybe not as robust and not as good, but not far off. So if you've had this one before, anything from Roughtail, please post in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about it. I think it's really damn tasty. And like I said, I'm going to go drink the rest of this and enjoy every second of it. So huge thanks to Wougi for this beer. Be on the lookout for more reviews from his beer mail. Like I said, he sent me a really nice selection of beer from 4 different Oklahoma City breweries. And I start now with this one. This is the first one I'm reviewing for obvious reasons. The only IPA he sent my way, so I was like, I got to get to it fresh. And he did send me a fresh can. When I got it was about a week old. Now it's about 5 weeks old, so it's perfect. So thanks again to Wougi. Thanks again to everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.